Okay, so let's get started. Today, me and Sana is going to be talking about the composable DXP. What is composable DXP really? We've been hearing a lot about it. So one-on-one, going back to the concepts, benefits, challenges, and then the fastest path to catch the next wave of composability. And we're going to see a live demo of Kajoo, which is really a tool that would help everybody to move to composability and headless. So most of you know me. Just introduce myself quickly. Nabil Orfali. I am founder and CX architect and Sitecore MVP at TechGuilds. I am 6-time MVP actually recently, and I'm here based on Toronto, Canada. And I have with me here Sana. Sana, I want to introduce yourself.
Sure, once I locate the unmute button. So yeah, hi everyone, Sana Kamalmaz. I'm the Director of Digital Strategy at TechGuilds. My background is in marketing and happens to be my second time as a strategy MVP, and happy to meet everybody.
All right, thank you, Sana. So our agenda for today is 8 items here. First, we're going to talk about what is a DXP very quickly. I know everybody here, knows what a DXP is. And then we're going to touch on what is a monolithic DXP and their limitations. What is composability as a concept in general? Basic technical concepts. And then we're going to talk about what is a composable DXP specifically. And then we're going to go to its benefits. And then challenges with composable DXP. And then last but not least, the most efficient path to composability with Kajoo. We're going to talk about, what is Kajoo, and then we're going to see a live demo of the platform. Okay, so what is a DXP? As we all know, DXP is not just a CMS, right? According to Gartner, a digital experience platform, DXP, is an integrated set of core technologies that support the composition, management, delivery, and optimization of contextualized digital experiences, right? So basically, a DXP is a natural evolution of CMSs. We all know how the building websites evolved to have a content management system, and then over time, functionalities were added to support that experience. And it's not just content, it's more like personalization added, commerce, A/B testing, forms, marketing automation. All these collective functionalities makes an addition to a CMS and then makes the DXP. DXP enables publishing to multiple channels and then integrates, of course, with e-commerce, marketing automation software, as I said, advanced analytics, and personalization capabilities. Now, monolithic DXPs are what people are currently used to, all-in-one solutions, and basically platform evolved like Sitecore and Episerver or Optimizely or Adobe AM. They kept on adding functionality to have a one-stop shop, all-in-one, end-to-end platform, also known as monolithic, that is used as a digital experience platform. But this over the time comes with a lot of challenges. The first one is all functionalities are managed by a single service or tool. All your tools are in one platform, it's hosted on one server, and it's not one server, but I mean on one place, single service. You lock down to that vendor, and also, it's time consuming to upgrade. It's time consuming to maintain and integrate. There's a lot of technical debt and costly upgrades as well that comes with it. All of us, we've been through many upgrades, either for our clients, or if you're a client on the client side, you have to upgrade at least once a year if you're really keeping on top of the technology and the updates. But it costs a lot of money and time. and you inherit a lot of technical debt there. Often it requires not only in-house developers, but often in-house server maintenance, managed services, support, server patches. Those are basically the limitations. And here, and hand it over to Sana to continue from here.
Sure, thank you, Nabil. Do you hear me all right?
Yep.
All right, perfect. So before we dive into composable DXPs, I thought I'd take a small step back and define composability in general, which is basically a system design principle where the system is made of components, interchangeable components that you can think of as building blocks. The principle doesn't apply to DXPs exclusively or to technology. It also applies to businesses. According to Gartner, a composable business is an organization that delivers business outcomes and adapts to the pace of business change through the assembly and composition of packaged business capabilities. With that definition in mind, one might guess that a composable DXP is a digital experience platform that doesn't include or house all the functionality or services that are required to deliver contextual and personalized experiences as an all-in-one solution. Instead, it's made out of interchangeable components, and they integrate with one another to serve as a single control center for all the customer touchpoints. And these components, you can think of them as content management system, personalization, optimization, search, analytics, marketing automation, and what have you. The composable approach to DXPs empowers businesses to pick and choose and pay for the components that they actually need and use. And those components are usually in the form of SaaS microservices where the vendor takes care of upgrades, availability, and security, making a composable DXP relatively easy to maintain. Comparing composable DXPs to their monolithic origins would look something like this. In the monolithic approach, everything is housed as an all-in-one solution, one suite by one vendor. While in the composable approach, it's made out of composable or interchangeable or modular components. And these are connected with one another. And these can be from one vendor or from different vendors, whatever serves the business better. So the business can actually mix and match and choose and build a system, build a best-of-breed solution that best serves its needs. There's some terminology that often comes up when we talk about composable DXPs, and here's a few of them. A headless CMS, as many of you know, is a CMS that doesn't include the presentation layer, which is what the end user sees. And the presentation layer would have to be developed by, separately by either in-house developers or by an agency. What it includes instead is a set of APIs that makes it easy to connect to, custom web apps that serve as a presentation layer. And usually a headless CMS is the centerpiece and the core of a DXP or a composable DXP. Another terminology is packaged business capabilities, and those are applications or services developed around a particular business function. Examples of these are, content management systems, analytics, optimization, search, marketing automation. And these are the building blocks of a composable DXPs. A microservice is a technical side of a packaged business capability, which offers an API to enable integration. So why composable DXPs? Why is composability a good approach for digital experience platforms? There is some benefits. First is customizability, or in other words, the ability to build best-of-breed solutions. In the composable approach, businesses are able and are empowered to, pay for and, buy only the functionality that they need. They don't have to stick with functionality that doesn't work well for them, and they don't have to pay for things that they don't actually use. And this allows businesses to build best-of-breed solutions. Another is increased competition between the PBC vendors. Because of that, opportunity or ability for businesses to mix and match and choose the services that they need, this creates this healthy competition between the vendors. And then there's speed, where less time is needed to, less time is spent on customizing a solution by either in-house developers or by agencies. And what's needed is actually just, select, pay for, and integrate those services that are needed. There's also agility, where replatforming, redesigning, and upgrading become really easier than ever. If a business outgrows one of those functionalities or services, it can simply disconnect it and connect another one. If it wishes to redesign the interface or the presentation layer, it can do so without even touching the content repository. And upgrades become also easy because, and especially if those components are, SaaS-based and the upgrades are taken care of by builders. There's also performance and SEO benefits, flexibility, stability, and speed. Flexibility comes from the fact that a composable DXP with Headless CMS at the center provides complete control over the markup. Stability comes from the fact that pages could be pre-rendered and available over CDN, and speed comes from the fact that the ability to use static site generators, which allows for optimizing for core web vitals. And last but not least, and this is more of an opportunity, where low-code and no-code solutions present opportunities for plug-and-play PVCs. And this is something that Nabil is going to touch on in a minute. All of this is not to say that composable DXPs come without challenges, because they do. For one, there is the transition to serverless architecture requires proper planning and strategy. Another is the fact that a composable technology stack requires highly skilled and highly trained front-end developers. And also there's the fact that currently there is no standard solution for a truly headless presentation layer, and it still requires custom app development. It is also still the early days, so there's not a lot of proven solutions out there compared to the existing stacks. And the initial license cost for multiple PVCs can actually seem to be more expensive than one monolithic system license. However, if you calculate it, usually the total cost of ownership is actually less in the composable approach than in the monolithic one. And last but not least is the lack of a what you see is what you get editor to build experiences visually. And this one applies to true headless solutions. But on that one, there is a solution for that one, and Nabil is also gonna touch on that. And with that, I'll hand it over to you, Nabil.
Thank you so much, Sana. I'll share my screen again. Oh, you need to stop sharing.
I need to unshare it. Okay.
We're used to Teams way more than Zoom.
Yep. Done.
Okay. Which screen now is shared? You see the right screen?
I think we see the right one.
Okay, great. Okay, now so now this is all good, and now let's just talk about what is the path to composability. It's all like good concepts. It looks awesome, but in reality, like, how do we get there? According to Gartner, the journey to composable DXPs and the future of applications will be incremental and modular. We shouldn't expect, organizations or clients or brands to, have like a one project and overnight, switch to composable. It's a journey. It's not a destination, and it's basically, it requires agility and incrementally and in a modular way to go there and get there. And also, according to Gartner, the future of applications research recommends 3 phases to the deployment of composable business initiatives: prepare, build, and scale. So in the prepare phase, we need to go to the drawing board a little bit, evaluate the current state of the DXP of our implementation, and prepare for necessary adjustments and gaps that needs to be addressed in the efforts to move to composable DXP. Oftentimes we've seen brands or clients, they have the big monolithic, has every single functionality in the world, and they're only using CMS, right? So when I move to composable DXP, maybe you move from there to just a headless CMS that only has a CMS because this is what you're using today, and you don't have to pay for everything. And you just wait for the mythical phase 2 to arrive to do personalization, for example, right? So we go back, assess the current state, what exactly our needs, what exactly we need to we're using today, where you want to go, and then choose the new business capabilities that you would actually using and you're going to be using. And then once we identify that, a digital experience, we need to build or buy that packaged business capability, right? Whether it's a SaaS, CMS, and I always want to go back to the fact that in the heart of composable DXPs is the headless concept, right? Jamstack, right? So you would go and acquire a capability or a PBC that is SaaS hosted, and you interact with it through APIs, right? And the experiences would be built in the modern languages like React and Next. So, but I mean, in this definition of Gartner, you can either acquire that service or you can build it internally, whatever works for you. But you package that, you just acquire that capability in a modular way. And then once successful, you scale. You scale with early transformative, can't say that word, changes. You will need to scale your composable DXP to achieve the architectural and operational agility required. So it's kind of a big puzzle piece, right? We keep on plugging in the capabilities that we need until we have the complete transformation in an agile way. Okay, so now it's a little bit technical here, but I know most of you are technical as well. The architecture of a composable DXP is, consists of 3 main pieces. We have the backend system, or the packaged business capability, PBC, which is, as we said, a headless CMS, a headless commerce, customer experience, customer data platform like CDP, or a DAM, marketing automation platform, any custom internal APIs, that you would call and get like a business functionality. Other systems, this first part is the part that is kind of the backend system that is responsible for achieving some business kind of like value or business functionality, right? And in the composable world, definitely you don't have to stick to Sitecore as like for BBC or for any other vendor. You pick and choose the best of breed of services that works for you, that is aligned with your budget, aligns with the functionality that you need, and just plug them in one like big puzzle. So that's the first one. And then once you have all the capabilities that you need, the functionalities and the back end, in a kind of a SaaS and headless architecture, the middle layer here, or the second pillar here, is the experience, the channel, the front-end experience. That basically, if it's a web channel, would be your design that will be built in the modern languages, Jamstack technologies like React, Next, Vue, or Angular, .NET Core, what have you, and then you would consume this business functionalities through APIs, right? So if it's a VR, then of course you also build this another channel, but you consume the exact same backend functionalities. If it's an IoT, if it's a smartwatch, whatever that channel is, it's the same concept. And this is the beauty of the composable DXP, or even the headless architecture as well. The functionalities are centralized, each in its areas that they're best at, but the experience is, unified on one channel, and can also be presented in different format, different channels, different experiences. So this presentation layer, or the head, again, we have these technologies usually that we use, and Kajoo as an AI code generator also is on the heart of that, where we're gonna show you how that would help soon. The third one is, so you have the back-end capabilities and functionality, you have the experience built, and now you need to host it and use some of the modern DevOps and kind of like a edge functionality or technology here. So technologies like Vercel, Netlify, Kajoo Deploy, AWS, Octopus Deploy, these technologies where it takes the great code that you built, the front-end experience integrated with the back-end experience, and then it hosts it on the edge or on the CDN for a very fast delivery of that experience. Very high level, in a nutshell, this is basically the architecture of a DXP. And as you can see, in the heart of it is the headless architecture. Okay, so a very common scenario right now that we all see all around. Most of the clients right now are stuck in the monolithic implementation. And now we're talking about Sitecore here. So you have your website or brand or experience built probably with MVC, hopefully not in web forms yet or still. But I mean, you spent probably like $1 million or more on building that. How do you move it to the new, how do you like really move there? What is the first steps you need to take? We talked about the 3 stages, but technically, the best way, the best first step is to move incrementally in an agile way to headless architecture. If you're sticking to Sitecore as a CMS or as a DXP, we all know the Sitecore headless, Sitecore GSS. You move your implementation maybe like for like. If you don't want to redesign it, move it like for like to the GSS. Decouple that presentation layer from the backend system to have like a headless architecture. That's like the very, very first step, because once you do that, you have your presentation layer or the middle layer that we talked about decoupled from the backend and can be integrated with multiple systems, multiple BBCs, not just the Sitecore system. And then, to help with that, probably you're thinking right now, like, okay, I need to rebuild my MVC implementation to headless, but I really don't want to spend the same amount of money to just clean up the architecture or move to a new technology. This is oftentimes the front end value doesn't show to the business when you're just cleaning up architecture and code. So using a no-code or low-code platforms for composable to move to the headless or the composable architecture like Kajoo.ai is really a good use case to move to headless as a first step with way less cost than doing it manually again. And to do that, I'm gonna just give you a quick idea what Kajoo is. You've been hearing Kajoo. I will just give you some highlight and about what the platform is all about, and then we'll jump to a demo. So Kajoo is a no-code front-end as a service for Jamstack. That's the first thing. Kajoo is a CMO, CTO's budget savior. Move from legacy to composable Jamstack with 50 to 60% less budget. Kajoo is a DX, digital experience collaboration platform. Marketer plus designer, architect, developer, DevOps, it's all on the same page, literally. The same platform, doing what they do, but on the same area, same platform. No silos anymore, no friction. Kajoo is a marketer's superpower. You can now use it as an ideation board to brief the team and collaborate with the team on what exactly the campaign or the landing page or the component you want. And then you can launch your campaigns as a marketer in hours, not in months. It's a designer's bridge to developers or to the dev team. Kajoo provides interactive design system, atomic design principles, and you can import your designs from Figma and code it with AI. Kajoo is a developer's unfair advantage. With Kajoo, you can, it's an AI-powered code generator. Instead of writing the code repetitively all over again, you know, it generates the code for you from design. It allows you to focus on the higher value work and don't just be lost in the mundane work. And Kajoo is a DevOps automation tool for Sitecore JSS projects. It provides you with one-click deployment and CICD all out of the box. And without further ado, let me jump to a demo. Any questions so far before I start the demo?
Yeah, I'm wondering who owns Kajoo? Like, who built it?
It's TechGuilds. It's our own platform. I'm just trying to. Sorry, what is Zoom window here? Oh, it's here. Okay. Any other questions before I start the demo?
So we don't have any questions. Nabil, the screen we see right now is, it's blank, so.
Do you see Paint?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, perfect. So here's what I'm gonna do. I will sketch a component in Paint and on my touch screen right now, and we'll put it into Kajoo, and we'll see how it's gonna be coded, styled and coded, and deployed to Sitecore in like a few minutes. Does that sound crazy? I know. So what should we sketch here? Let's say we'll have like a teaser component, very common. It's an image. And then we'll do like a header here or heading. We'll do some text here. And a call to action. So that's a very common component.
Can you put a wrap with shawarma in that image?
For sure. Okay, so I'll save that here. I'll call it Toronto SUG. And then I'll switch my share screen again to my bigger screen. And we'll just go to Kajoo here and create a new project. So I'm gonna create it from a sketch. I'll call this component Toronto Cycle User Group. I'll upload my sketch. That's the sketch that I just did. And I'll hit create here. Now, when I hit create, what's gonna happen is this sketch will be sent to the AI algorithm to make sense of it and convert it to web elements. Here you go. This is our component. And I click on it. Here you go. You have this as an image, this as a heading, that's a paragraph, and that's my button. And you can see here there is an AI auto layout algorithm that is writing the code and structuring my component in real time whenever I do any changes in a responsive way. Now, this is not my design, it's my layout, it's my wireframe, but really I want to apply my brand theme to it. So I'm gonna go to, what is a TechGuilds theme? This is a TechGuilds theme. I'm gonna click on it and see how, all the atomic design principles here, I apply these styles from my brand style guide into my sketch. So all of a sudden I have my elements here styled. And just to show you where this comes from, we have an interactive design system here where you can add your brand colors, the fonts. It's all integrated with Google Fonts. You can upload your custom fonts. And the headings, all the elements of the web, you can add variants and style them differently. You can, even if you're an advanced user or developer, you can add a CSS here to it. And then, when you have that, all of a sudden, you have all your style guide interactively here available, and you can just, with a push of a button, apply to your design, or you sketch your wireframe, just click on it, and then it will be styled. And if you're not happy with that, or if you want to change it, you can always go and choose another variant of that element, or you can even style it differently here. You want a different color. You want a thread right now, so you can do that. You have all these styling here. This is all my brand colors from the theme. And you have all the CSS cutting edge properties available visually, flex properties, everything to style your element. And anytime you can switch the preview and see how this is going to be responsive. If you want to do like more advanced, styling, you can highlight that button and say, okay, I want to do like a different state, hover. So on hover, I want to flip the color. I want the fore color or the background color to be red, but this is white. So let's see here. You have this interactivity here. And it's all responsive, as you can see, out of the box. You can even style differently on different breakpoints. So you switch to small breakpoint and you say, on small breakpoint, I would like the image to behave differently or get a style differently. So now I'm happy with my component. I want to just publish it to my Sitecore implementation, my Sitecore instance. And here you have a few options. You can either check in the code in source control, or you can generate the code and just download it as files to check it and see it. Or you can do all of that, generate the code, check it in source control, and deploy to the target instance. And when you choose that option, I'm gonna ask you to really choose which site, which JSS site you wanna deploy to. Hey, Chris.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, good. Sorry, I thought you wanna say something. All right. So you choose the site you want to deploy it to, and this site is defined. I'll show you in a minute in the configuration. You create a site, you connect it to your source control, and you configure it with, connected with GitHub, and you define the deployment targets and instances and environments. So when you choose that site, you choose which environment. I only have a production environment set up here. You choose which instance you wanna deploy to, CM, CD, or different instances, and then you go and publish. Now here, what's gonna happen here, this is where the Kajoo deploy kicks in. We started the deployment. This is something you don't see usually, but for some technical folks here, there is a dynamic CICD pipeline here that is checking in the code in GitHub on the existing JSS app. It's building everything together to ensure there's no build conflicts, installing all the dependencies, building everything, and then deploying it to the CM and the head as per the configuration on the site here. So we go to the site's configuration. You can see here there is the site name, the URL, which environment this site is available on, and we define that here in the environment and instances. You connect it to GitHub, you choose the repo, the branch, and the deployment, is it manual or FTP or SSH? And you can do some more advanced manipulation here on component directory. For some architects would love to configure that dynamically to deploy to specific folders. And of course, it's all permission based. You can invite certain users in your organization to deploy to a certain site. So this is going to take a couple minutes. It's building, it's deploying. So just gonna wait a little bit, and then here is our Sitecore instance. I will just mention one other thing here. When you are defining the site, what you would do is you go to the instances, you download the Kajoo plugin, which is available here, and then you install it in your Sitecore instance, whatever it is, if it's dev or UAT or QA or production, you just install it here. And then what this would do is when you log in with your account, it will register this Sitecore instance into Kajoo, into that site, and you can deploy to it. It doesn't matter if it's behind VPN or if it's behind on a local machine or anything. Communication will happen between the cloud and your instance through the Kajoo plugin, and it will just deploy to it anytime. So we tapped into the normal development process. So you build that component and then you push it to the source control, to your dev environment. If you are a developer working on it, you can see the code, approve it, and carry on. So now, for example, I am deploying that. The code is generated and checked in. You can see here, this is the repo. I connected to Kajoo. You see this Toronto Sitecore user group component. I just checked in. I can click on it and see the generated code. So this is the React code. It's all generated. This is also the index file. This is the CSS of the styling. And also there is the manifest file that the JSS or Sitecore would expect to create all the data templates in Sitecore that is needed by that component to get content. There you go. It's all successful and done. So let's now open the experience editor and see our component. You can just add it to a page and put content. Very fast, very fast. Come on, Sitecore.
Are you open to receiving questions while we wait, Nabil?
Sure. If there's any question, please.
I guess the question I have is, are you going to be doing this with other CMSs other than Kajoo? Sorry, than Sitecore?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's on
Next
your
integration
roadmap?
would be with so next integration would be with Order Cloud. It's still Sitecore, but that's commerce. And also we're working on integration with other CMSs like Content Stack and other ones. But Content Stack is the first one.
Yeah. What about Optimally? Are you headed down in that route at all?
No, not
No?
yet.
Are you looking at working towards partners being able to create their own integrations, or is that on the roadmap at all?
It is definitely on the roadmap when we get to the kind of like a plug-in system and external APIs. Yeah, it is. It's a little bit farther down the road because we have a lot of other priorities to do.
That might be a good thing to do as a 202 type session, is some of the roadmap type stuff that you're doing. I think that would help us really see, because I mean, you've got a lot of things that you're a lot of directions that you're heading that are pretty amazing, and knowing where you're going, I mean, that will excite the community, I think, a lot more. It'll excite me, definitely. I mean, I know a little bit because you told me, but I think a lot of the others in the community would love to know where you're headed, because you're headed in some great directions. So
thank you, Chris. Absolutely. So yeah, I'm just deploying this component again. It seems it didn't make its way yet, so I'm just going to push it again. But in the meanwhile, I'll show you some of the generated components that we did with Kajoo. So
quick question: how does it integrate with SXA?
It does not.
It does
not. SXA is MVC. So as you know, SXA has two parts. It has the MVC component library, and it has the management tools where you can create sites and
Right. Yep.
Right. So creating sites definitely works great with JSS, but I mean, it doesn't generate code for MVC. It's only generate codes on React, Angular, Next.js, which is the JSS architecture, the headless.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So this is all these components were built with Kajoo. I'm just gonna use any of them, like including this. Then you can see all the components are experience editor friendly. You can, of course, use them as any component you built with JSS. You can add, images and edit the text, and they're all responsive. So it's all done. It's a component that is built in a few minutes rather than a few days or a week or more. And if you're wondering about the architecture behind it, it's all Helix. We're really we're tapping into the existing best practices and development workflow for Sitecore. So all these components are built with Helix. It has a data template attached to it. It's all like created automatically, and all modular and everything in there.
Is it possible to use Kajoo as an independent software, like rather than integrating it with the CMS?
Absolutely. Like, I mean, you can generate code on React and just check it in source control and pick it up, and take it from there. Integrate it with anything you want. It's a great question. I mean, the last part to really push it to Sitecore is the Kajoo deploy, and you just need to ignore the manifest file here. It's just a file that we generate for Sitecore to pick up. But I mean, every component here is we generate the React code and the CSS. So yeah, definitely.
So practically, I can check it into GitHub and hook it up to Vercel, and it will statically generate the website which I drew.
Absolutely. You can do that. You can just go and check in the code. to the site. You it doesn't have to be a Sitecore site. Check it into source control, and then yeah, pick it up from there and integrate it with whatever you want.
Okay. Do you have is Kajoo now supporting like building a website rather than just a component? Let's say I want to build. I have a campaign. I'm running the website, so I'll need multiple plugins for sure or components.
Mm-hmm.
Can I manage like the whole website within Kajoo to see how it's going to look like as a home page, let's say, or like a landing page?
Yeah, so this is on the roadmap. We're working on it diligently.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be available in the next, I would say, 3 sprints.
Awesome.
Yeah, so today every project is a component, but we're adding the concept of pages and components,
Mm-hmm.
right? And yeah, so it will be available. But you know, today is like you build a component, and you just generate the code, style it, generate the code, and add it to your existing React application.
Nice, because it would be great, like to draw your website and have it up and running on a React if you don't want to work with a CMS, or later on maybe find another way to integrate it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Hi, Ben. This is not usually my main screen, but I don't know why it's like it's popping up here. Yes, you are. Okay, what do you guys think? Any questions?
I'm thinking of the reusability part. So let's say you create a component, you push there. That's very nice. Let's say someone else in the team comes and try to push the same or at least similar component. Does Kajoo do the kind of verification and say, yeah, you already created this component in the past, like, I don't know, promo component with the image, header text, call to action, instead of have the exact same component created too many times?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or at least suggest, is this a new variant of that same component, and try to attach them as a second variant of the exact same component?
Yeah, I mean, great point. So I will have 2 things to say about that. First, this is exactly why we didn't really jump the development process and just allow the business user to just create random components and launch them randomly to mess up the implementation. And you know, when you push, so let's say I'm a marketer, I created this component, and then I published it. It will be checked in source control, and you know, my architect or my dev team is going to be taking a look at that and say, okay, you know, I've seen that component before, and this is kind of a variant on the front end. You know, we'll suggest some changes to it, and we'll approve it. Right, so that's the first thing. That's the first safety valve there. The other one is we are also working on more intelligence to connect Sitecore implementation in the other way to Kajoo Cloud and expose the data templates here, where you know it will suggest, it will know, it will be aware of the existing components, and it will intelligently match the front end variant with the back end kind of data template, or you know, the back end code. So the user here will have the ability to actually map as well and confirm that, okay, this data template here, or this component can use this different fields or existing fields actually from existing data template, or use existing backend code and functionality. Nice. So definitely this is a great point, and we've heard it from different users as well through the beta testing, and it's something on our roadmap definitely.
Good. Another question I have is, do you support the standard value for Sitecore? So let's say you create a component, you make sure that in its standard value, it has some, at least the best practices, like let's say different icons, titles, notification, or some commands on different fields, etc.
Yeah, so the placeholder text here is going to be a standard value in Sitecore. Now, if you want to do more like advanced standard values, you'll have to do it in, within Sitecore, where people are comfortable with their like, we don't really want to replicate all the Sitecore functionality here. But yeah, the initial text will be built as a standard value, and then you can extend it there in Sitecore.
Okay. Interesting. Pretty exciting things happening here.
Yeah, thank you, man. Corina, I didn't hear from you. What do you think?
Right here. Well, I have to say it's even better than how you described to me earlier. I think it's great. I'm interested to hear more about live customer use cases and just understanding where the challenge is going to be, because it's so far what you showed is just represents a lot of really great work behind the scenes.
Thank you, Corina. Yeah, for sure. So I mean, speaking of the composable DXP and the fastest way to get there, this is a great tool to convert your existing components from MVC to headless, where you can literally replicate the designs visually here and push them to your Sitecore implementation or the new Sitecore JSS. And then you don't really have to spend the exact same amount of money to replicate your site into JSS or move it to JSS. That's a big use case to upgrade to the latest Sitecore version and also to move to headless. So that's
as well as coming from other types of solutions. So if you're coming from like an old FE solution or a WordPress solution or a standard .NET solution and trying to get yourself into the Sitecore CMS space, this is a nice way to be able to do that, because you can take your existing forms and different things like that on your site and pull them in. And that's one of the things that blew me away with this demo, was pulling in an existing site and bringing in the UI from that site into this model, and then bringing from there into the JSS. And so not just doing a specific drawing, but if you take the actual site itself and pull it in, that's really cool, because you can hit the different pages and grab the stuff for each page and generate these things and prototype it and move it around and get the new UI from the old site exactly the way you want it, and then pull it through. And that's the thing that always blew me away with this tool. It's not, the drawing thing was nice at the beginning, but this thing here where you can pull in this site and then see it within Kajoo and then be able to remodel that. From an agency point of view, like what you do, that would be something that would be very powerful and some ROI that you could get early on with this tool.
You're talking about this, Chris?
Yeah, where you go to, yeah, and then you take that and you pull that into Kajoo, and then voila, you have your components sitting there, and you can move them around and you can redesign your site within there, and then push from whatever platform it's in. You now have your JSS components coming through, and that's immediate. Like, because the old way of doing that was you had to actually go in here, strip out what you want, and create your JavaScript components, and then pull your stuff underneath. But you'd have to do that all manual. This here is a more automated process of bringing it in, and then you can visually drag and drop and move to what you want. So
exactly.
This
so
is powerful.
This is really a great point, Chris. Thank you. So this is one of the things that I didn't mention we've been working on, to import your existing design from the interface into Kajoo, and then put it through the process, generate the Reacts, create the data templates, and push it to your new Sitecore headless implementation. It's not completed yet; it's still in the beta, but you know, it would be ready in the next Q, in the next quarter, so end of Q2.
So that's something that the two of you could partner on, and you could do some beta testing on that for TechGuilds, you know, and get some immediate feel from that, and seeing it in practice, and you know, that's going to be a powerful piece. It's going to save agencies a lot of time moving stuff over from one platform to another.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, the last piece as well that I didn't mention, we're also working on a Figma integration and import. It's in the final stages as well. So in Q2 as well, you're going to be able to import your design from Figma all the way to Kajoo, and then generate the React code and Sitecore code. I mean, it's still in QA right now. I mean, I can maybe show you, but it's probably wouldn't be as robust as I would like it to demo, but can import from Figma, and then, you know, style and approve your design here, link it to data templates, and then publish it, generate the code. Similar idea. This would be like the tapping into the real workflow where designers would be working on their favorite design tool, and then you import that to Kajoo to actually, you know, integrate it with Sitecore or other CMS, and, you know, decide on the content model and data templates, and, you know, push it to either your Sitecore GSS or, you know, your content stack, CMS, any headless service, or even like a order cloud commerce system. But it's all visual, no code. You just import the design, map it with content models. All the API integration will be done in the background, and then one-click deployment is deployed to Vercel or your, you know, target Sitecore instance. So that's really the power here. I shouldn't show you this, guys. This is still in the cook. But yeah. Okay, so if there's no other questions or discussion points, I'd like to invite all of you to sign up for the free beta testing, or let's say, you know, a free trial in Kajoo. You just need to go, I'll put it in the chat here, app.kajoo.ai, sign up, and then our team is gonna work on onboarding you, give you the user documentation so you can play with it. Okay, so that concludes my presentation. Any other questions or final comments?
Not for me. This was really great. Thank you for the work that you put into this.
Thank you. Thank you for the feedback, Karina. All right. Okay. So with that, we're going to conclude our user group. Thank you so much, everybody, for your time and for attending. And we'll talk on the next user group.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night. Bye.
Bye.